Hello, greetings. My name is Jessica Lee, and I am the International Youth Conference Director. Today, our session is on equipping tomorrow's workforce, exploring new and future skills for youth in innovation and training. Joining me are Rachel and Kay. I would like to pass the floor to Rachel and Kay to introduce themselves. Rachel, please.
Hi there. Yeah. So I'm Rachel. I work for Your Big Year. Your Big Year is preparing the future leadership leaders, and our mission is to empower those to make an impact in their lives and in their world. So we provide some of the most unique professional and personal development programs. I'm even proudly representing my Your Big Year shirt. Personally, I am based in New Zealand, so it is actually talking about the future. I am currently living in the future. It's Saturday here in the morning. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about this topic. I think this is what we're passionate about. My favorite part of my job is working with young people every day and helping them really gain the future skill sets and the confidence to really make that impact, which all leads towards making an impact towards the SDGs. But I'll hand it over to Kay to introduce himself. Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel and Jessica. So, hi everyone. I'm Kay. I'm a founder of a company called Both of Us, which is based in Sweden. So, what I do is I work a lot with technology, digitalization of state or of a municipality, and I work really close with higher education institutes in sub-Saharan countries and European Union countries to create innovation department or innovation ecosystem in higher education institutes. So that's what I primarily do. And then we also work on European Union digitalization projects. I'm super eager here to learn and also contribute to whatever I have learned so far related to what's going to be the future. So I'm looking forward to this. Over to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Rachel. In my professional background, I work in human resources, specifically on recruitment and exams. So I administer examination. In my community service, I volunteer. I actually have been volunteering since I was 11 years old. So I've been volunteering for over a decade. And I am so glad that community service has helped me to gain the experience needed to strengthen my skill sets so I can work in the position that I want to work in. And as a human resource analyst, as a human resource professional, my job is to ensure that there is an equitable hiring recruitment practice in the entire practice, and also to make sure that I am able to skillfully address the concerns and topics that may come up regarding recruitment and administration examination. In this topic, I am very interested specifically in talking about climate careers, green careers. This is separate from what I specialize in the professional work. In the community service, I also work in the climate field. And statistics indicate that the global youth unemployment rate was 17.89% in 2021. And the World Economic Forum suggests that globally, quote unquote, the transition to clean energy is expected to generate 13.3 million new jobs globally by 2030, offsetting the 2.7 million jobs expected to be lost in fossil fuel sectors. As we can see, there is a great potential in transitioning to work in the fields of climate, sustainability, environment, ocean spaces. And how to do so is the one question, and how to equip the youth and young adults with the knowledge, with the skill sets ready to enter these fields so that they can be financially stable so that they can work towards their interest. And this is something that I would like to discuss throughout the whole panel today. And Rachel and Kay, back to you. Just want to see how your perspective and what your perspective is on the future workforce, especially on equipping youth and young adults to join the job market. And this can be any sectors or a particular sector of your focus.
I'll hand it over to you first, Kay.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. So Jessica, that's a very interesting question. So I would represent and talk about the technology part of it. So ICT is one of the basics, right? So probably we are in very early part of tech renaissance now, because now it's not about e-commerce or things like those. So it's about quite advanced ICT. We are talking about patterns and machine learnings. So there are basic skills that everyone might be needed to acquire. Then there are skills which is specialization. I think it depends on the geographical location. So most of the global south countries, specialization is a bit tricky because you need to be, it's survival takes over specialization. So it depends on the geographical. But in terms of the future and how the skills, so I think basic set of ICT skills is compulsory, at least to read, like materials and articles. And then there is this contribution side. So that we can discuss more going forward. But I think, yeah, basic ICT skills, I would say. So over to you, Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah, so with Your Big Year, we've been lucky enough to work with young people across 190 countries for the last 15 years, and really understand some of those missing skill gaps, those common skill gaps that they've faced. And equally, we've been working with corporations like Microsoft, like IBM, Google, around literally the topic of the future workforce, because they are just as curious to understand about the young people. But in turn, we get to learn about those needs. And I think, Kay, you're right, there is a need for specialization. And equally, it comes back to the future ready skills of like your hard skills, those specialization skills, those tech skills, and equally those soft future ready skills, right? Like remote working these days, it's super important, or cross-cultural collaboration skills, your communication skills. And all of those skill sets allow you to really propel in to these fields of the environment and these fields that are going to be working towards helping with the UN SDGs and achieving them, right? So for us too, we even take it that step back, and then what's going to help you learn those? Well, first you need to understand who you are as a individual and what your interests or passions lie. But yes, I will, kind of like Kay, I feel like we'll move into those conversations more as this conversation goes on.
And especially when we're talking about skill sets, we are talking about, for example, project management, communication, analytical, statistical, engineering, research, writing, interpersonal, reasoning skills. This is why, in order to become a well-rounded candidate, youth and young adults and people of all ages need to prepare ourselves so that we are ready to enter the job market. The job market is going to be competitive because there will only be one position and you can have 1,000, 2,000 applicants. And if the position is international, you have over 10,000 easily because you're actually recruiting from around the world. So how are you able to make yourself stand out amongst all the applications, amongst all the applicants? That is very crucial. And that's why we need to have workforce development programs and job readiness programs to prepare the youth and young adults for these to enter the job market.
And
resume writing, building their resumes, building their cover letters, and being able to come out strongly enough so that you are able to become the shortlisted candidate in the in the interviews. And that's why in my volunteer work, I help to review resumes, I help to review cover letters, and I give mock interviews.
Yeah,
And here,
I think that's awesome, and I think you're absolutely right. And a part of that sticking out from the crowd comes back to understanding of who you are, because I think authenticity is a huge part of sticking out from the crowd. So as we go through, as you prepare them, as you give them, you know, that confidence in those mock interviews and that resume building, it's also comes back to like, who am I? Like what I bring to the table, because your authenticity and like what makes you unique is what's going to make you stand out. And it's also going to give you the confidence to be to continue in that direction. And that gets broken down into, you know, understanding who you are, and then understanding preparing, right? Understanding how to present yourself or position yourself. And then that next step of presenting yourself as an individual. And that all helps you to, I believe, stick out within whichever field that you decide. And that's something that can be adjusted in whichever field. Kay, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The everyone is unique. It's the thumbprint, you know, like the nature's thumbprint, as we say. So I think one of the important thing here is to understand we need to be a good curator of ourselves. No one can say our story better than ourselves, right? So we need to say our story the best we can. For
I
example,
like
when I
that.
moved from Dubai, I was brought up in Dubai, and then I was trying to move to European Union for human rights reason, obviously. So, but I applied for more than 450 jobs, and out of 450, 20 got me in the interview, and I almost lost all 20 because I was nervous. But then I decided I'm gonna be myself, like what Rachel just said, and then it worked out. At the same time, I got 4 offers, and then I have to choose between the 4. So it's all about being yourself. You know, it's very important. But then here we also need to understand what the youth really needs is don't doubt yourself. You know, like yeah, the market is competitive. There is so many things happening. I would like to emphasize that it's not a race. It's an art. You know, we are creating art here by creating future. So it's never a race. It's like we are going to leave our own footprint in a beautiful way. So never see it as a race. Take it relax, and never blame yourself as a youth, because I'm dealing with so many youth, as Rachel does as well, and Jessica does as well. So I've seen youth blame really a lot on themselves. They blame themselves on everything. Please don't do that,
Yeah.
because it's not, even if you did mistake, it's okay. We can try and learn and do better next time. But feeling guilty that you failed, you committed a mistake, you did wrong, is gonna burn you down. So save that for later stage when serious things happen. So and also, other than job market, entrepreneurship is also very important for a state growth. So you also can look into those aspects as well. So with that, I would pass it to you, uh, Jessica, please.
I just wanted to quickly jump in because I love everything that you're saying, Kay. I like wrote down little notes, and nerves is a real thing, right? Like, and it's almost like learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because we're constantly in our lives going to be in situations where we are a bit nervous, where we maybe feel a bit out of place. So it's almost like learning how to deal with that feeling in itself. And you've mentioned things like it's not a race, and I so strongly agree. And you know, the terms FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, because technology is making us see every little thing, and on LinkedIn you're seeing every little thing that your peers are doing. It can feel like a bit of a rat race in terms of like, oh, I'm not there yet, or oh my gosh, I should be speaking on a stage, or I should be already at this position, and it's not the case, because it comes back again to what us three are saying. It's our path, it's our authentic journey, right? And there is no rush to mastering that, right? It's and so I just love that you've brought those points, because there's so much pressure on the younger generation coming through, and it is learning to take that break and to reset yourself, so that you can then come back with full energy, so that you're not working on an empty tank. We can't work on an empty tank, right? You need to take that time to refuel yourself. So anyways, I just loved those points that you mentioned. So thank you. Back to you, Jessica.
And I love how you, Rachel and Kay, have talked about being confident. We have to be confident if we are going to enter the job market. We have to be confident if we are going to become entrepreneurs, ecopreneurs, if we are going to start a business. And what are my skill sets? In which areas can I perform well? Experiences. What are my experiences? What do I excel in? Education. What is my relevant education? What achievements do I have? Certification. What awards do I have? How does this help to boost my qualification? And in so looking, I am able to discover my strengths. What are my strengths? Where can I excel? And what are my objectives? Why do I apply for this job? Why do I want to become an entrepreneur? Why do I want to become an ecopreneur or even start a business? Do I have any projects that are highlighted, and how impactful are the projects? So all of these can be questions that I can ask myself, and in asking myself, I can put these into context and put it on my resume, put it on my cover letter, and speak it to the interview panel. And this is how this is how the usual process is. But if you get a referral, a recommendation, that may even help you better. But in order for you to get the recommendation, that referral, you need references. And that's why you as in all of us who are entering the job market, who are looking for what's the trend in the future job market, you have to grow your network. You have to be skillful and strategic in which network you want to build, especially in the networks that will help you to elevate your mission and goals. I am very passionate in community service, and I want to work in community service. I want to volunteer. And I am constantly looking for opportunities to volunteer. And this I will continue. And this is how I see myself applying my talents and skill sets. And that's in helping the community, promoting for the better good, working towards achieving a sustainable future. And that's working towards achieving the sustainable development goals.
Well, I think you've spoken about taking up a lot of opportunities based on your passions and interests. Some of the young people here might not know yet what they're passionate about. It may be a bunch of interests, and that's okay, because through interests you discover your passions, right? But it's also through opportunities that you discover more about yourself. But then coming back to your point of networking, it's where you build those relationships. And so that is taking, volunteering opportunities, that's taking, joining different groups, or acting on those interests. And it's those relationships that can actually lead to that recommendation letter, that can lead to opening your eyes up to a path that you may not have seen as an option before. And so, I think networking, relationship building, and really taking up opportunities all kind of intersects, because it all leads and helps lead into the next opportunity. And just noting, I'd probably go a bit further, but like, never think that the next opportunity has to be the final one or the final destination. You go through one door, another 3 doors open, and that's how I look at them. Sorry, Kay.
No, absolutely. It's beautiful to see you both discuss valid points. So from my perception, I would say step one is always, don't panic if you don't know who you want to be. if you don't know what your passion is, because some people found out even in their late 30s, so don't panic, and they have been quite successful. Like I I hope you all understand and know about the Lamborghini story. So it's okay to take time and even get your passion in 30s. It's okay, or even 40s, 50s. Secondly, if you know what you're gonna do, then do the best you can. That is really important. You want to be the best, like Da Vinci. Uh, and very very important is whatever you're passionate about, follow and know everything about it. If you're passionate about music, you need to know everything about Spotify. uh, I'm saying Spotify because I'm based in Sweden, so, and also it's beautiful. So Spotify, so it's really important that you know everything about your industry. Use social media for that. Connect in TikTok, Facebook. Use social media, and just don't get involved too much into job industry. And of course job is important, but also innovation, entrepreneurship is also a path as well, which you could look into. And that's what I would say. So over to you.
I think sorry, I'm jumping back in. I feel like you guys are triggering my brain to think, and I love it. But I think you're right. Like with anything you do and anything that you do pursue, you have to put in the effort. You have to put in the research, and that's just a part of life. We're so used to now getting things instantly with a quick Google search, or a quick with at an instant. I mean, New Zealand doesn't have Amazon deliveries yet, but if you do, you get that overnight or the same day. So we get used to that, but actually, you do need to put in to be able to stand up from the crowd as well, and to be able to understand and be the expert in whichever direction you want to go. You have to put in the hard yards. But don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as like you're getting to put what you're passionate about into action every day, and you'll learn more and grow more and network more. But no, I just think it's a really valid point that you had.
And that's great that we're actually talking about identifying your strengths, knowing who you are, being aware of your talent.
Mm-hmm.
And many of the youth and young adults, they may come from backgrounds that are not financially stable. And there are internships that are paid. So look for the paid internships. And if you are not able to get the internships that are paid, start by applying to unpaid internships. Even volunteer experiences, they can help build your experience that will boost your resume. The
Mm.
future of the workforce needs the youth and young adults to be prepared to enter into any of the sectors, especially in the highly skilled sectors. Since we have a global audience here, we have audience that comes from countries that are labor intensive. And these labor intensive sectors may not see a need yet for highly skilled positions. But we have seen from history that these highly skilled jobs are being added gradually into the labor intensive markets. And when there's a transition, some of the workforce will be left behind because they're not able to pick up the skill sets. So they will be stuck doing the labor intensive work. And that's why you see this disparity, this economic gap, this workforce gap. And how we are able to train and equip the youth and young adults, we need to have accessible job readiness programs and vocational programs that will help the youth and young adults to prepare for the job market. We also need education, quality education, accessible education for youth and young adults.
100%, and that's why at Your Big Year, everything that we offer is free, because we want to eliminate the barrier of finance, and then also equally we have virtual programs. A lot of it's virtual, so you take away the barrier of visas or needing a flight, or the only barrier is obviously connectivity. We can't master that everywhere, but we have teamed up with satellite companies to be in Puerto Rico to give connectivities and health clinics there so that people have access. So yeah, I agree. It is about having, for us, the two SDGs that we focus on is reducing inequalities, number 10, and number 7, quality education, which comes into this. You've got your traditional education, your untraditional education, and both are just as equally important. And more and more, right, you talk about the labor intensives versus the high skills. I think both can interrelate, and both are still a part of making the world go round. And so it's actually about understanding that connection point and how that they can help each other. And yeah, that's kind of my few points there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jessica. And Rachel. So in the early part of the career, if you're a job seeker, in your early part of your career, try to take a paid internship, but then you need to know some things might feel right, the so-called gut feeling. So you need to follow that. Like there is no rule book which says take paid internship, don't take paid internship. It's just you need to ask your gut. And sometimes you might love the team, you might love the company, so you need to follow that. But then you need to have a goal, like 1 or 2 years in your career. After 1 or 2 years, never take anything which is unpaid, because people love to get things unpaid. And don't do that. And very importantly is also you should respect yourself as an individual. So give that respect to yourself if you're a job seeker. um, and when it comes to the job market point that you guys have been addressing, I think internationalization or globalization is really important. So I would say if you're a job seeker, don't get in the bubble. um, so look internationally, and also try to use tools like Google Alert. There is a tool called Google Alert. You can just type Google Alert in Google and you will see it, and then you can type in any keyword to set an alert to your email. So let's say if I'm going to set an alert saying scholarship, I'm going to get anything which is posted online about scholarship immediately in my email. So be smart when you do things, use technology, and also get out of the bubble, because it's so easy to get influenced by people around you, by the society around you. But don't do that. You can see in this video like how beautiful we all three look together. It makes us look beautiful when we are from international diverse backgrounds. So think internationally, it's really important. And also, if you're an entrepreneur, if you chose innovation as your path, if you want to choose innovation as your path, I think it's beautiful, because you drive the country forward. Even if you're a job seeker, you are driving the country forward. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have a bit more weight on your shoulder, and there you all you need is hope and motivation. And all you need to do again is get inspired internationally. Don't get stuck in the bubble, which is really important. And always remember, it's okay to fail on 100-meter race. What matters is to win a marathon. That's what matters in job market or innovation or entrepreneurship. Like it's all about marathon. So that's what I would say. Rachel, sorry. Please.
No, I love the bubble. It is about bursting your bubbles wherever you can, and that can even happen locally, right? We all get stuck in our small groups, and then that's what happens when you grow up in a certain place, right? It's comfortable, it's what but bursting your bubbles, both internationally and even locally, like it does. You could be living in the same suburb as an individual, but you still have different paths. If you don't see each other every day, it's a new perspective, it's a new lens. And I think that's exactly right. Like, I love being on calls and we're just all from different places. And we all have that different experience. And you'll notice, and that comes back to networking, right? And relationship building, because you'll notice that these conversations and the insights that we provide, while we may think it's just, you know, nonchalant, it's just whatever, to someone else, it can help them in a future conversation. It can help them connect the dots somewhere else. And that's why it's like, it's priceless. Really, that cross-cultural collaboration, that exposure to other experiences and cultures to yourself. And it's that, yeah, that beauty of diversity. And when we talk about diversity, it's not just, you know, race or country, it's diversity of experience, diversity of, you know, learning abilities. It's diversity of finance, it's diversity of experience in general. So it really, that's where we grow as humans and can really help move the needle forward. So yeah, thanks. I love your bubble comment.
Yes, and I really agree that we need to instill and promote a sense of diversity, equity, inclusion in the work that we do, especially in the job market or even entering the job force, starting a new business, ecopreneurship, entrepreneurship. And here we have to really think about opportunity cost. So after high school, I could choose between immediately start to work or pursuing a higher education, getting my college degree. So I chose getting a higher education. And then after I got my college degree, I could choose to get my master's or immediately start work. So I started work immediately. And now, after more than 5 years, I have saved up enough money. So now I am preparing myself to get a master's. So the opportunity cost as a student, currently I am still studying in a university. Even though I graduated college and I have my degree, I am still studying because I want to enhance my skill sets. I have certificates, and these certificates are ways to certify or even to demonstrate that I have taken classes, that I have taken courses in the specific areas. So, for example, I have a certificate in business analytics. So, it's actually a certificate that shows that I have taken classes and courses and I prepared myself to use Excel, to use spreadsheet, to use statistical analysis database. And certificates, they are helpful, but the continuous learning is what's most important. And if I get a certificate, I learn how to use the database, but I don't know how to apply it, then I would never be able to use that skill.
I I think we should all be lifelong learners. There's always something new to learn. And I think a good way of explaining what you're saying is doctors, right? They are constantly having to do new papers. It doesn't matter if you do the full 7 year study or how long, throughout their whole career, you are constantly learning because the medical field is growing and understanding of the human body. But that happens in any industry, the tech industry, human resources. Like, everything is about upskilling and yeah, refreshing and yeah, that lifelong learner mindset. So that's a
Yeah, absolutely. I think it again goes back your first point, Jessica, which is about okay, what should be done? Should we aim for higher education, or should we start working and then this cost of education? So I think it's case by case. We can't say one rule. So I mean, if it's based on your background, my personal background was more of I need to go to work after bachelor's to kind of stable the family, which I had to take over, and I did. But then I thought I can go back to masters, and I tried, but it's not my, I started thinking like if I'm wasting my time, so I had to quit and go back to running my own company. So it depends, it's case by case. But then I have a beautiful experience where one of my colleague who joined in as an intern in my company, in our company, But then she worked for 2 years, then went to do masters in psychology, and now she is aiming for PhD. There are both cases, so it's case by case. So what it is you need to follow your own gut feeling, and always very important to feel that and to continue doing what you want to do, because all these small things which you suppress your own gut feeling might result in like you are missing out a piece sometime in the future, like there's something missing in my life, we all get that feeling. That's because of missing to listen to your gut feeling in early part of the career. So please listen to your gut feeling. And also, when it comes to progressing and like specialization and so on, I think we want specialization. We want more research to happen. We also want research to turn into commercialization. So the all the researchers which is going on in all the academic world should become commercialized. So that's also very important. But there are opportunities. It all depends on how you fine tune and how you follow. I'm being boring here, saying repeatedly, follow your gut, follow your gut. But that's
No,
that's
I think
that's
that's
the real truth. Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes we're not encouraged to follow our gut. We're we again like there's all these pathways we see or other people doing things, and it can feel like that you should be on that path, but it's about again coming back to what's unique to you, which is following that gut feeling. And you're right, it is such a case by case scenario for everything because depending on where you want to pursue, maybe it is just opportunities that lead you there, like different ones. You may go for a bachelor's degree, you may just do a paper, you may not do any papers, and it might be work experience that leads you somewhere. Um, Again, I don't think there's a one what's the word, one size fits all. Like everyone kind of has that unique perspective and pathway that they should take.
Definitely. And that's why now I would like to actually interact with our participants, because I see that there is one question and I can read out the question. What steps can be taken to ensure that the acquisition of modern skills by the youth is not only beneficial to the individual employability, but also leads to long term sustainable development and growth in the broader job market and economy?
I think it comes back to the future skills. It's come back to take a second to understand your personal brand. I know I harp on that, but I think that's where anything can stem from. And we have a curriculum that takes you through your personal brand, your networking opportunities, and leads you to that action plan. The sustainability of that is that can all be redone as you grow and as you experience, because as you grow and experience new things, your perspectives will change, your network will change or grow. And so, yeah, that would just be my 2 cents for now. Maybe Kay will spark some more thoughts.
Yeah. So Jessica, if I understand this question correctly, so it's about like what is for now and what is also for future long term in terms of sustainable development goals and so on.
Yes, and what steps can be taken to ensure that the youth can acquire the modern skills to benefit the individual choices of being employed and also leads to long-term sustainable development and growth?
Oh yeah. So this whole terminology of sustainable development will probably, it's now, right? So maybe we might have some other. So the very important thing is it's a step-by-step process, and we need to look backwards and also kind of make our own analysis on what's happening around us internationally. Again, this is in everything international, right? So not don't be this horse which which can see only the road. We need quite a broad view. There is few steps, right? So step number one is where is it going towards. So one of the important thing is data driven. So I'm giving a case study of what's happening now. So this will change eventually. So one is data driven. So we need to have skills about, okay, what is happening now? What are the skills that might need around it? Probably everyone is talking about artificial intelligence and data learning, and I might be someone who has no idea about technology. So what do I do now? I feel left out here, right? So what I do now is I need to think, okay, what with what I know, what can be done related to the industry. Maybe I'm good in collecting data, and maybe I'm good in creating logics, mathematics, or maybe like we need to kind of connect the dots here. So step one is connecting dots. Step two is also, how do I apply this at the same time? Am I going to feel happy with whatever I'm doing? This question comes back again. And then step three is, okay, so I'm quite stable now. I'm good at monthly income and I'm stable right now. So now we need to think about future, because if you start to think about step 10 already when you are in step one, it's going to be scary. Please don't do that in your life. So take it step by step. I did that mistake personally, so that's why I'm saying. And then people around you is going to create this confusion in you. They're going to confuse you so much, asking, okay, what is the step 4, what is the step 5, and you are there, you haven't even figured out step 0.2, and then they are asking about step 5, step 10. It's uh, it's hard, but take step by step. And when you are in stable step, then think about the future. That's when you analyze and see what's happening around SDG goals. I mean, now, for example, for now, the priority is going to be on globalization, internationalization, resilience, very important, recovery. Recovery is important in many nations around the world. We are just coming out. We are not that matured as human evolution when it comes to equality. Like just now we started giving women more rights and so on. You need to connect dots. You need to know more about the history patterns and things like those. You need not know exact date in the history, but you need to know just the patterns which is appearing around you. So for now it's more about equality, and then more about the data related science and data related, and also so much about community. You need to be a person who loves community, who loves to do things together. This individuality, like I'm this next this person, that person, is in my opinion is gone. It's more about how do we drive it forward as a community. That's really important, as a global community, I mean. So yeah, I think I spoke too much, so back to you. Back to you, Jessica.
I think that's a very insightful perspective. Thank you, Kay and Rachel.
No worries. Or do you want me to jump back in?
Yes, if you want me to repeat the question, I can.
Yeah, sure. I kind of came
Yes.
in before. Um,
And that
yeah,
is,
maybe,
what steps can we take to ensure that youth is able to acquire the modern skills necessary to benefit themselves in terms of increasing the chances of being employed, and also leads to long-term sustainable development and growth?
yeah, I think let's come back to doing, yeah, step one. It is kind of back on Kay's thoughts. You've got to do the research, right? You've got to take a step, like, okay, what am I interested in, and then do the research behind it. I would say that is step one. And then I feel like it's the continual, for the sustainable thing, it's that continuing to upskill and continual to take on opportunities and to meet people, so that you can, yeah, learn and reflect. I think reflection is probably a huge part of ensuring that you're on the right path, right? And that you're learning the right skill sets. too. Like, is this what I want right now? I think that's also a huge part that we forget to take on.
And also, many of our audience, in, well, myself, including myself, are multilingual. So I can speak more than one
Jealous.
language. And that is definitely an advantage if one is going to enter the job market. And learning a second language will help in boosting your qualification, and also having the, well, at times when you look at the job descriptions, they will say desired qualification. And then they will say you can speak more than one language, and they will specify which language they would like the candidates to be able to speak in. So language and also experience, knowing what you have and what you don't have. If you already have a position that you want to focus in, but you're not qualified yet because you don't have the work experience, work towards it. Do you have enough education level to meet the minimum qualifications? If that position that you are interested in needs a bachelor's degree, but you only have a high school diploma, how can you work towards getting a bachelor's degree? You may have to overcome many challenges, for example, financial challenges. But I'm sure that you need to be active. And when you are active and being resourceful with your time, with the resources that you have that are provided to you, even if they're not provided to you, be active in the community, look for those opportunities, look for those resources that can help you to strengthen your skill sets, reskilling, upskilling, and strengthening your qualification.
Yeah. So it's finding, what's
And we,
unique about you, right? And so that,
yes,
um, and we come back to, things that businesses need to adjust and change. Well, they're going to sometimes have some outdated job descriptions or going outdated viewpoints, especially in big companies. So don't let that imposter syndrome stop you from also giving some things a go. It may, you may not have a bachelor's degree, but maybe you can say, I don't have this, but I've done this. I've had this experience, met this person, have this skill set, and you never know. That might be the resume that sticks out from the rest as well.
Yeah, I think what is really also important is, I mean, we are, you both are representing really great amount of point there, but then we also need to understand there is this. I work a lot with sub-Saharan countries. The important part there is survival.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of the urban city side is very well. Probably Rachel, you also have the experience. It's very well developed with the urban environment, but then when we move to rural environment, connectivity, there are so many issues. So the basic thing is survival. So I would say take survival as step number one, because you need to survive to say your story. So survive. Step one. Step two, when you survived enough, then what you do also is get internationalized. So, okay, how do you get internationalized? It's super easy to say, but it's hard to do. So we need to connect, use LinkedIn and platforms like those, and connect, and then try to learn and follow. And this word of networking, it's kind of interesting but boring as well, because when you express honestly trying to connect with someone, they would feel that. And if they're not feeling that, move to the next person. There's so many people in this world. So kind of try to connect with people. And I don't know if there is any of those employers who are viewing this. I think there needs to be a very decent amount of opportunity given to starting from, like, so people who moved or displaced, they need to get highest priority. Yep. Displaced women need to get highest priority, then displaced people, then displaced, like it need that. Then each company should have their own policy. So displaced
Mm-hmm.
people, and then it should go on to like women-led organization, because for a very long time we have been men-led organization. So we need to balance this out. So then also comes into this, this the people who feel like hormonal changes with their gender, they need to get a lot of priority as well, and also previously privileged people. Like I was I'm from a slum kind of when I was a kid, and I was quite angry when I was not given opportunity because of my background and in schools and universities. But then I also learned how to trigger that anger into productivity. So if you're a job seeker, you might get angry, but trigger that anger into productivity is something very important as well. So I don't know, Rachel, Jessica, please.
No, I thought that's I think you bringing that experience is probably relevant to a lot of people. You've heard of, we did a big Future of Women in Tech series, and people, spoke about basically doing a very uh, plain, quote unquote English type name, not their traditional name, to ensure that their resume was actually seen. So I think you bring a lot of very valid points, and like the action point though, whatever that emotion is, putting that into production, so that productivity, so that you can use that as a fuel rather than a hindrance. But also, and then also on that, we're talking about globalization, international, connecting internationally. I mean, I just, to give case by case studies. So Priyanka, who is the executive director or organizer for this, we met her because she did our course. So she, me and her would meet every week and would talk about different things, and it set her on this pathway. First of all, she gained the confidence, and then she really took that and put that into action. And now she's come back and she's asking, "Hey, do you mind if you speak on this panel?" I'm like, absolutely. So it's that connections that you really can make, and they last a long time. It's a view. Yeah, so I think that's just a cool example of just how you can take up an opportunity, then you can set yourself and you can, flourish, and then you can come back and be like, this is what I'm doing, like, and it all comes back together. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of add that in. Noise is nice. And then also you kind of, sorry, one other point. I'm done, but then I'm not done. No, I just think it's the importance with everything you do is having, we talk about community, and it's having that sense of belonging. Right now, the sense of belonging with us three is we're all here to talk about this certain topic. Everyone here is, they're looking to take that next step and to make that impact towards, the UN SDGs or whichever goal they have. So that sense of belonging in anything you do is super important, and finding your tribe to help you live your best life, essentially.
Great. And going on that note, we have a couple more minutes. I would like to give the floor to Rachel and Kay for closing remarks.
I'd like to thank you, Jessica, for having us here, and
thank you.
Kay. Yeah, you're welcome. Priyanka, thank you for inviting me here, and everyone for listening. And Kay, it's been a pleasure to talk to you talk with you today and hear your story. I always love to hear from other legends around the world. So it's thank you very much just for having us here. Please, if anyone ever feels like they need to reach out, they always can. I'm happy for Jess and Priyanka to pass on my details.
Yeah, so thank you, Jessica, for moderating this session, and Rachel as well. I really love the energy that you both have, and thank you for the opportunity, and also for anyone who is watching this live, and anyone who is in sitting in a camp somewhere, or like anyone who don't know what to do. I would just like to say, just go to LinkedIn. If you don't have a profile in LinkedIn, firstly create one, please. It's part of digitalization and digitization. So create a LinkedIn profile, and then if you have a LinkedIn profile, please, if you have anything to talk about, just send me a message. I will try my best to reply as soon as possible. And very, very important, one last note for today I want to say is, don't blame yourself for everything. It's not fair. Like, you need to keep moving. So don't blame yourself as a youth. Keep moving, and be empathetic towards others. And cognitive diversity is really important. So respect people from other competencies. So that's my closing point. So over to you, Jessica.
Yes, and especially when a community has strong employment laws and also a whole work package that centers on promoting workforce well-being, so employee well-being, that will incentivize workers to work for that company, to work in that industry. Maternity leave, paternity leave, maternal and paternal care, paid sick leave, and these can all be added, if not already, included in their package. That actually depends on the community and the company, and also the local laws and the rules and regulations and policies regarding employment in that community or in that country, that region. So when we talk about the future of the workforce, we have to get into the regional perspective and the local perspective. Then we have to look to the national perspective, and then we can look at the international perspective and see what's the global trend here. And the work culture that promotes equal employment opportunities, and one that centers on diversity, equity, inclusion, creating a sense of belonging, like Rachel has just mentioned, in the workplace, are very important in retaining the talents. Talent acquisition, talent retention. Those two are constantly being discussed in the human resources and also in the broader, workforce development area. Having workforce development, job readiness programs, and also mentorship and coaching opportunities are also very important in preparing youth and young adults and people of all ages to enter the job market or even make that transition into the work that they want to work in. Thank
Yeah,
you so
no, I
much.
love that.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Kay, for coming to the session. And thank you so much to the audience here. You have been giving so much insightful discussions. And I am so grateful that I am moderating this session with all of you and seeing that our audience is here interacting with all of us. Thank you. And I wish you all a good day.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.